everybody.
So we hadn't been on here in a long time, but we wanted to start out 2024 with just kind of like a recap with 2023, and we wanted to talk a little bit about our pregnancy journey so far and some of the stuff that's happened.
And I don't know about y'all, but 2023 for us was just like, whew.
Yeah.
Like, you know those pictures, those memes where it shows somebody and they're like all tore up, their clothes are tore up, their hair's messed up, and they're like, yeah, that's how we came out of 2023. We're like, so.
Well, we do, now that we've kind of hit the new year, we kind of feel a little bit more rejuvenated and more hopeful. But I wanted to show you guys we had some footage of some of the stuff that's happened to us. We didn't really want to, we didn't really feel like we could make a video at the time that stuff was happening, but we're ready to kind of talk about things now, and I feel like it'll be very therapeutic for us to kind of get it off our chest.
Well, and our main thing with this is we want to be, because when we were struggling, one of the ways that we coped was looking at other people's stories that had been brave enough to share what they had been through. And we drew strength from that because it showed us that we wasn't going through. I mean, even though every situation's unique, we wasn't going through it alone.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're hoping that maybe this will help somebody else who's going on a struggle.
Yeah,
right now.
Kind of going through some of the stuff that we've been through. Well, first off, I'd like to say, like, last year we suffered a lot of loss. So, and like I said, as we're talking, I'm going to go through and put in some little video footage of some of the clips that we have of things. And we're doing this video very vulnerable right now because it is very, like, hard to kind of watch some of those things again and, like, to relive it. But like I said, I think it'll be very therapeutic for us, and hopefully it'll help somebody out there watching this too. But so June 14th of last year is when all of the roller coasters started. So I don't remember what we were doing. It's been so long, but we were together that evening.
We had went to church on a Wednesday night, and we came in, and I was standing at the counter trying to figure out what we were going to do for dinner, and Haley came in and told me she had a present for me.
Yeah. So, what was it? Like I said, it was a late birthday present.
She said it was a late birthday, which it made sense to me because June 14th is only.
Yeah, I was like, I ordered something. I don't even remember. We'd have to watch the clip back, but yeah, so I had a feeling that I might be pregnant. So I went in the bathroom and took a test by myself, and I didn't tell him I was taking it. And then of course I was just so excited that I had to tell him. But I actually had already bought a willow tree figurine that has the couple with the baby, and that was how I was going to tell Adam that we were expecting, was to give that to him, and he would kind of know by seeing that we were. So we came in and told him that I was, because I was reading a positive test, and of course we were both really excited over that, and probably too excited. I think we got a little too ahead of ourselves with, like, telling people and, like, all of that, and I'm sure I can show you guys some footage of that too as we're talking. But everybody was all very excited for us, my parents, your parents, and we told
Nana,
and then my brother and sister-in-law and Eli, and Mindy's mom and sister and dad knew, because we had went for Father's Day a couple of days after that.
Fishing. And
we thought that'd be a great time to just kind of tell everybody, even though we hadn't been to the doctor yet, we were just so excited. And you know, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being excited. I think I felt a little, I don't know, I was hesitant to tell at first because, and I know you were just so ready to be a dad. I think that you were just ready to tell people, and you know, that's okay. I mean, you know, it is what it is. We were just really excited. But we did find out that it was a couple of days after that I started bleeding, and we were like, what's going on? Because I was so excited. I took, like, how many? It was like 10 pregnancy tests. Like, we took so many, and I was reading all of them. There was a couple where it looked a little faint, so we couldn't really tell, but all of the other ones, yeah, the digital ones were saying pregnant. So we were like, okay, we've got to be pregnant, because why would it say that? But we ended up going to the ER. I've got a little bit of footage, I think, of us driving there in the car. we told them what was going on, and they did some tests on me, and we did like a full ultrasound, just to see, because they were confused too why I was reading pregnant if I wasn't, and so we wanted to make sure that I didn't have like cancer or cyst or anything else that could be causing me to read pregnant. But yeah, so that was really, really, really hard, because we went from one extreme to the other within like a matter of 2 or 3 days, like thinking, okay, this is it, we're finally expecting. And if you guys have been kind of following along with us, we've been trying pretty much since we got married. We were like, we'll give ourselves a few months and then we'll start trying. And you know, we're just ready for it. We're ready whenever God wants to give us a kid. But so then found out I miscarried on that day, and that was on the 19th. I believe it was a Monday, and I was out of work, fortunately, so I was able to just go, and Adam went with me, and you know, we found out. So
it was rough. That's all I can really say. It was rough. It was really rough.
It was a huge roller coaster for you, more so, I think. You know, just, I guess, having the insecurity of not being able to have a child. Like, you kind of dealt with that. So,
well, for everybody who doesn't know, I mean, and I don't mind putting it out there, if you've ever been in a relationship where one person does have fertility issues, it is the biggest nightmare you will ever go through in your life, having to go through any kind of fertility stuff. In my first marriage, we had tried to have children and we were unsuccessful. And I see now why. It was God's plan, because that we weren't meant to be together. But we had tried and nothing was happening, so we started a fertility journey. And I don't mean this in any way to sound vain, because it will. When we started our fertility journey, we found out that everything with me was checking out, but with my wife there were some issues. And I'm not going to lie and say there's not a part of you that is kind of relieved that it's not you. But then at the same time, when one person goes through it, you both go through it, because it affects both of you. Yeah. And I tried to, we went down that journey for about, I'd say, a year, and it's doctor appointment after doctor's appointment, test after test, and insurance does not pay a dime on it. It's all out of your pocket. And so even though I wasn't the one that had the issue, I was still pretty scarred by it, because it was, you know, I went through it as well. And so when this happened, I think it brought all that back. Like, oh no, we're going to have issues. We're going to have to go down that road again. And that was a road I was not wanting to go back down. Like, was not wanting to do.
And in turn, that was kind of hard on me, just because I think I felt like he already kind of pegged me for not being able to have a child. And I mean, I can say that. I mean,
no, I did. When you go through something like that, it's almost like you can do. And those of you that have been through it that are watching this, you'll totally get me here. It's almost like once you've, you know, your innocence has been kind of shattered. Like, I always just thought you got married, you have kids, and that's just the way it was. And when you've been down a road like that, and you realize things don't just fall into place. Sometimes you got to work hard for them.
Yeah.
You know, it does kind of change your perspective, and so you kind of adopt this mindset of, I'm going to hope for the best, but I'm going to prepare for the worst, because I don't want to be blindsided like that again.
Yeah.
And you know, that's not the way to be, but that's just human.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a very much a roller coaster ride, because we just went from pure excitement one day, and then like 3 or 4 days later it was like, no. And you know, we had already told our family, and I am thankful for one thing. I got to see my dad's reaction to us expecting, just as he was, you know, like not you know, in a hospital bed, but we'll get to that. So in July, right after that, it was like 3 or 4 weeks maybe, we're going through, we had Bible school that week, and it was a really stressful week, and we ended up one of the nights after Bible school, I got a call saying that my grandmother was not doing too good, and they pretty much said she was on her deathbed, but we went down to the hospital, and we stayed with her as she passed. So we had to go through my grandmother passing in July. I should have gotten Kleenex for this.
Well, and bear in mind too, even though this was a month later after our first miscarriage, I'm not a doctor or anything, but I figured you miscarried and things went back to normal. But I mean, it takes a while for, it took a while for her to get back, and she was still struggling with the after effects.
That's a whole nother struggle that the woman faces in this, because the man, I mean, you guys are great support systems, but like, this is something that's going on in our bodies, and luckily I didn't have to do anything crazy that I know some people with miscarriages do have to do, like a DNC or something that's very traumatic to your body, and I'm very thankful that I didn't have to go through that. But I think your body just gets messed up in general, because it's like, ooh, you're pregnant, and then it's like, oh, never mind, and like your hormones are just like up and down, and like to go through all of this at the same time, it's just been crazy. And so after my grandmother passed in August, like she passed in July, in August is when we found out we were pregnant again. So this time we were a little hesitant. We're like, okay, we'll just tell a few people, just the main people that kind of need to know, and then we'll keep it to ourselves. Let's wait a couple months before we do anything, and we'll go, see where it goes. So we went for a while, and like in August, in August I would have been about a month. So August 15th I would have been about a month, and then we went to actually I'd been a little further, I think, and then we went on our cruise for our anniversary.
And keep in mind, during all this time, going on 2 months, we were taking
tests.
At least one test a week.
I took tests like a lot just to make sure.
This time there were no like, is it light? I can't tell. The digitals and the line ones, like, they were very prominent.
You're pregnant, yeah. So we went on our cruise, and
first day.
Was it the first day?
The very first day, that night.
Couldn't remember. Anywho, so that first night on the cruise, I started bleeding. It was very spotty, so it wasn't, we were kind of like, it could be fine. It might not be. Like, we were like freaking out. It kind of downed our trip a little bit for the first couple days, just because we were worried. Then we kind of got past it and pushed through it, and we were fine, and like it was fine afterwards. But we got back home, and I took another test, and I was still reading positive. So we're like, we're good, we're fine.
Just a little bit of implementation,
yeah,
something
like, because you can bleed when you're pregnant. I mean, a lot of women do. So we just thought, okay, it's just that, and it's fine. So I had a appointment scheduled for September 25th for an ultrasound. Well, we were just doing our initial first visit. We weren't sure if we were going to be able to do an ultrasound or not, but we got there, and I think I have a little bit of footage I might be able to show of me riding to that appointment and talking about that. But so I got there, and we took a pregnancy test. Still read positive. The doctor went over everything with me, like things I can eat, things I shouldn't eat. Like, she was like full on, like giving me a due date, all of that. Like, she was like, y'all are good. And I was like, well, are we doing an ultrasound today? Like, are we far enough along to do that? Because usually you can do those like 8 to 10 weeks. You can do a first ultrasound, and we were already at that point, or what we thought we were at that point. And she was like, well, we don't normally do it the first appointment, but let me see if I can get you in there. So she asked the lady that does the ultrasounds, and she was like, yeah, we can fit you in today. And we're like, this is great, because we needed that confirmation. We needed, like, to know for sure that we were good.
Which, looking back on it now, is a good thing because we would have come home thinking everything was fine.
And we probably would have done like a big reveal of us being pregnant and all of that.
So it was a godsend.
So we went into the room and did the ultrasound. I could tell something was wrong immediately because she did just one on the top of my stomach at first, didn't see anything. And then she had to do... what do you even call that? Internal ultrasound.
Not pleasant, I'm sure.
No. So she did that, and then she was like, "How far along did you say you were?" Because she thought that I might just be, like not as far as what I was thinking. And I told her the last time I had my period, but then I told her we had bled some on the cruise, and so she's like, "I'm not seeing anything." And again, it was just such a blow.
A flood of them. I mean, like...
Yeah.
It's like somebody punching you in the stomach because you're just like, not again.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through this again.
So that was the second ultrasound we'd had where we got really bad news. So now we probably will have PTSD if we get pregnant again.
We've decided now if we get pregnant again, we're not doing anything. We're not telling nobody until we're like 6 months in, and then be like, okay.
I don't know about that.
We'll just tell everybody you've been having a craving for Taco Bell, and that's why you're getting bigger.
Oh, is that what? Yeah. Well, I've already gained weight from all the stress of everything else going on, so people probably already do think I'm pregnant again. But yeah, just another horrible blow because we were further along. But the bad thing with this one was I had to continue to get tested to make sure it was out of my system because it was kept reading.
They were worried with this one because even after we had confirmed a miscarriage, it was still like 3 or 4 weeks. We were still reading positives on tests.
Positive tests,
we're like, what is going on?
Well, and I had to go every Friday for like 4 weeks or so to get blood work done.
She even had to go on the Friday that we found out her dad had passed away.
Well, yeah, that was the next thing. So, in October.
That was just a rough season.
Yeah.
Very rough season.
So we were going through all that, and then in October on Friday the 13th, that's when me and Adam were woken up by my mom and Mindy banging on our door to let us know that they'd been trying to call us, and we both had our phones turned off. But they came to our house in the middle of the night. Gosh, I don't even know what time it was.
It was pushing, I think it was like 5:45.
Yeah, it was almost really early. And my dad had passed away. He was at the rehab place at that point, and just to give you like a little backstory on my dad, in August he just kind of felt his head was kind of hurting and he didn't feel right, so he went to the hospital, and he'd been in the hospital for a long time, and he got moved down to Charlotte, and they were doing a lot of tests on him.
And they had ruled out, so they thought it was a stroke. They had ruled that out. They thought it was sepsis. They had ruled that out.
They ruled out a lot of stuff.
They were pretty much just having to test across the spectrum and hope they got a hit. I mean, it was pretty much a trial and error.
So they finally ruled that it was encephalitis, and from an unknown cause. They don't really know, but he was getting better, and we thought everything was good. We had actually told him that that we were expecting on the second baby too when we were in the hospital, because we thought that would give him some hope and motivation to get better. And he was getting better. I mean, he came all the way back to rehab in Black Mountain. He had been in Charlotte for a long time. My mom had been going back and forth with him, and just it was a long, like, draining process for everybody, I think. But finally got back into rehab, and one of our cats has a zoomies. Finally got back into rehab, and he was there one night, and they came in to check on him, and he was unresponsive. So they called the ambulance to come get him, and they were on the way en route to hospital. And oh, okay, Phoebe. She fell off the couch. They were en route to the hospital, and he was pretty much pronounced dead when he got there, and my mom was called, and she had went to the hospital and was told. So it was a big shock for us. And then that same morning that I found out that, I still had to go and get blood work done for the miscarriage too. So it was an awful day. Like, just, it was a lot.
I say an awful day. It had been an awful,
a few months
later half of the year.
Yeah,
just rough, one thing after another.
So, with all of that to say, like, we've went through all of that, and I think the biggest thing that we're learning is that bad things are always going to happen, things that we don't like. You can plan out your life to a T, like the way that you think it's going to go. I never thought I would be divorced. That was one thing I was like, I will never do that. I never thought I would have miscarriages. I mean, I know you can't really plan that, but I always thought, well, God's just going to bless me with children and I'm going to be fine. But it doesn't matter. All of those things are going to happen to you. It's never going to happen the way that you plan it. And we're both planners, so that's just like devastating to us, like, not to be able to plan stuff out. But it's all about how you react to these things that happen to you. If it's something bad, you just kind of have to learn how to remain positive, keep hopeful, be hopeful, and like know that God's got your best interest at heart, and you have to follow his path for your life, no matter what that is. Even if you don't like it, it's still his path through you. And I think that's really hard for some of us to grasp sometimes, is to be on that road.
Well, and one thing, there's an old saying, and it says misery loves company. And I used to always think that was just a horrible saying. I still kind of do. I get the science behind that, though. When you see somebody else that has went through something that you're like, I can't imagine, but they are still smiling, they still go on about life, it gives you hope, because you look at them and you think, they made it, they were okay, I will be okay too. It's just going to take some time. And I mean, even now, we're not even a couple days into the year. I have a classmate that I graduated with, good friend, passed away very unexpectedly, and left behind a little girl and a husband and a brother, and my heart breaks for them. And then I have another. We
think we have it bad, and we see other people, and we're like, wow.
I have another friend.
I can't imagine.
Her and her husband just had their first child, and 3 days before she delivered their first child, he was found dead. And I mean, you just look at this and your heart just breaks, because you realize there's not one person in this world that's immune to heartbreak. Yeah. I know sometimes we look at Facebook and we see people's white picket fence lives, and we think everything's just
what they're going to show
you. Perfect for them. Everything just falls into place. But all of us are going through stuff that we don't want the others to see, and we try to pretty much blot it out of our lives. But everything that happens to us, it's part of the plan. It's part of our story. It makes us stronger. I would say we're not the same people that we were before we went through all this. And I'll even be as honest to say we're maybe not as naively innocent, thinking that everything just falls into place like we were. But if there's one constant through all of this, God has been so gracious and shown us so much love and mercy. I mean, the amount of mercy and grace he gives us. And, even when everything else falls apart, if you just stop for a minute and you think, even Jesus during his time on earth had to suffer, had to go through heartache.
Yeah.
Why would I think my life would be any different? But God took care of Jesus and got him where he needed to go, and God will get us there too. Yep. So we say all this to hope that somebody watching this, we don't know what you're going through. Maybe you're going through a miscarriage or an infertility journey, or maybe you've lost someone close to you. I'm telling you, it will not get easier, because even now down the road, we still you face that loss every day. It doesn't go away.
And I think sometimes you lose a part of yourself when you, like, I was just telling him that recently, like, when your parent dies, like, I don't have anybody else that's my age right now that's lost a parent, so I don't really have anybody to confide in. But I know people that I'm not close with that have lost their parents, but I think you lose it's almost like a weird feeling of like losing your childhood or your memories and like that connection to who you were when you were a child, because it's something that was a constant, that was already always there, and it's not there anymore. Um, so I feel like I've kind of lost a little piece of me during this journey, but like you said, I mean, like God's been the constant for me during this entire life that I've had. So that is one thing that will never change for me, is I always have faith to know that that's the constant that, you know, I'll always have.
And I will say, the void that the loss leaves, if you truly draw near to God and trust Him, it's almost like that void gets filled with His love, because you realize, you know, this life here, it's full of heartache and pain and loss, but there'll be a day where this won't happen anymore. Like, ultimately, in the end, love wins, and happiness and joy wins. And it's all because of Jesus.
And see, we even debated talking to you guys, because I told Adam, like, I wouldn't mind talking about miscarriages and all the loss that we've had whenever, you know, we get pregnant again and it's a viable pregnancy and we're good. But that's not what you guys need to hear, because if you're struggling, you know, you want to see that someone is, you know, relying on God and like, and going through that journey, not needing to know that something good's gonna come of it, like, but just knowing that God is faithful in this valley that we're in, and it not like, we don't need to have that good thing happen, even though we have hope that it will. And you know, we may not be destined to have children naturally, but I still feel like God will give us children somehow, and you know, that's okay. We just have to be open to how He gives us children and how we move forward in our lives with the people that we've lost.
Well, and with the loss of loved ones, I mean, that's one very big comfort. If you know Jesus, then you have the promise that you will see them again, and there'll be no more goodbyes after that day.
Yep. We were getting a call. So yeah, anyways, so I think that was, we did want to at least mention something positive at the end. We do have some fun videos coming up. We're going to do some more date nights for you guys, but we have these cards that you scratch them off and you don't know what it's going to tell you to do. So those are going to be some of our upcoming videos to show you guys. And we also wanted to give everybody a little update on your weight loss journey, because I know you've got some people following you on that. So
I have had so many people support me in my weight loss journey. New Year's is always a time for me to reflect on that, because it was 2 years ago on New Year's that I was in the ICU and was basically told, if you don't do something to change your lifestyle, you're not going to live long. Mm-hmm. And you know, I've got too much living to do. There's too many things I want to see happen, I want to be a part of, and that kind of kicked me in the tail. So New Year's is very nostalgic for me, because I reflect back on, you know, thank goodness that happened. And you know, once again, that's a prime example of how God works, because when I was in the hospital, I was scared. I mean, to have a doctor tell you you're not going to live long, that's hard to swallow. Mm-hmm. But it, from the bad can come good. That was the motivation I needed to make changes. And I weighed in a couple days ago, and I got my weight, and then I weighed in this morning, and as of this morning, altogether, my total weight loss is up to 264 pounds. So I've lost, I weigh less now than I've lost. And I know everybody's like, well, what do you weigh now? And I will tell you, I still struggle with the self-consciousness of my weight, even though now, because technically now I'm still, with what I weigh now, I'm still considered overweight. But if you ever look at the body scales, like the ideal body weights they have for anybody is ridiculous. Like, I don't think there's a person alive in this country that meets that, unless they've had like some kind of surgery or something. But I weigh less now than I've lost, which is just blows my mind, because I've literally lost half of myself.
Yeah, over half yourself.
I feel so much better, and it's opened the doors for me to do so many things. I got to ride last year. I will say I got to ride a roller coaster for the first time in forever.
There were
'Cause
some
I
good
actually-
things about
Because
last
I
year.
actually fit.
Yeah.
I went down 6 pants sizes and 4 shirt sizes in my clothes. So that's been a big accomplishment. I've been proud of that. I got to ride a mountain coaster for the first time, and I didn't fly off the tracks because I always pictured like coming to the edge and the brake not being able to stop all this and just. And so I got to ride that. There's just been so many things that I have been able to do and actually enjoy that for the longest time I just sat on the sidelines and was like, that'll never happen for me. I'll never be able to do that. And that does, I will say, weight loss is a huge like thing that you can use as like an example for life. You know, ultimately there's been days where I've cheated and ate what I wanted because I was like, I'm upset, I'm frustrated, and I just went to McDonald's and had that Big Mac and that large fry and that McFlurry and was like, I don't even care. And there's been weeks where I weighed in and it was like, I've gained 4 pounds in a week. Like, but I think it's a good example of life because there's been hiccups, but I've stayed the course and I'm seeing the benefits. A few hiccups is not enough to derail the total progress. And it's the same thing with life. You know, we've had some hiccups, but it's not going to derail us from being joyful. It's not going to rob us of our joy. We are still enjoying life. We have so much to look forward to, so much to be thankful for. And just,
so much to be thankful
God
for.
is
We're
good.
still so blessed.
Oh, yeah.
So.
God is indeed good, and don't ever let the devil rob you of your joy.
Yeah. It's a great way to end the video. All right. Well,
I miss
happy.
my calling. I should have been like a motivational speaker.
Yes,
sometimes,
you
I
should
think.
have, maybe. So happy 2024. We will see you guys with some fun date videos here pretty soon.
And some trips. We got some trips.
Yeah,
on the
there's
horizon.
some trips planned too, and hopefully, we're keeping our fingers crossed. Hopefully, we'll have a pregnancy announcement this year too. So yeah, we're praying for it, and we're praying for you guys. And thank you for following along with our story.
Absolutely.
We'll see you guys later.